One player I want to talk about who I feel like we almost kind of forgot about last season is Aaron Jones, a guy who I think is still a really good halfback for them. You remember he got a contract back in 2021, and you look at the details, and at first you say, oh my god, a 4-year, $48 million deal, that's a lot of money. But then you look at the guaranteed, and it feels a lot less so. Only $13 million guaranteed. Oh, okay, well that's not so bad. And if his average salary is $12 million a year, then you assume that basically after the first year, it's going to be, you can get rid of him at any time if you wanted to. Although that's actually not how that works. And again, I know we're going down a bit of a rabbit hole, but just bear with me. This is his actual details, and if they were to cut him right now, you're actually still looking at $18 million in dead cap because he's already gotten some money this year already, and then he basically $12.3 million of his $17 million cap hit in 2024 is part of that guaranteed money. So it's one of those interesting scenarios where, because of the fact that you push the cap further down the road with the signing bonus, they push that as far down the road as possible. It also, in a weird way, basically locks you into this contract. Granted, they could right now decide to cut him if they wanted to, but then they'd have to spend actually $10 million more this year to do it. So they're for sure keeping him this year. And then next year, if they wanted to cut him, they'd only save $5 million. So the reality is, it's kind of one of those scenarios where, due to the way it was structured, it was almost a fully guaranteed deal, or at least a mostly guaranteed deal is probably the way to phrase it, despite the fact that it looked like it was almost a non-guaranteed deal at all. However, it kind of reminds me of when Darrelle Revis signed a deal that had no guaranteed money, and his logic was he was just going to bet on himself to play good enough that he would reach the end of the deal. Here for Aaron Jones is almost the opposite, where the Packers bet on Jones to still be effective at this point in his career, and so far that gamble has worked out. If you look at his Pro Football Focus grades, he was coming off of the 2020 season when they paid him, which wasn't his best season. PFF had it as his worst season, but he's had two really good seasons in 2021 and in 2022. You look at his run grade in 2022, a 90.7 grade. That's an incredible grade, quite frankly, and he's been a very good player for Green Bay these past several years. So while yes, they gave him some money, so far he's lived up to the hype. Like, one of the things he does is something you'll see on this play, which is a very small thing. This is not a massive highlight reel play or anything like that, but it still does, I think, matter. So it's going to be a pitch to the bottom of the screen. Jones takes the takes the pitch, and he's running in that direction, and you see there's a defender for Buffalo coming over to try to make a play. And if you're thinking this is going to be one of those plays where he secretly finds a way to get a touchdown, no, that's not what's happening here. Watch that little shift, makes a little bit of a move, and picks up an extra 3 or 4 yards. That's not anything crazy, right? What's the real value in that? It's minimal. But there is some value in that, though. There is some value, and the fact that you have so many opportunities to make that type of play as a running back, that's where your value a lot of times comes in. Yes, it's great that Jones has home run hitting ability, and we will get into that home run hitting ability. That's, the reality is, for the Packers last year, sometimes it felt like Aaron Jones was the only guy who could really, be a home run hitter in that offense. However, I think one thing that goes underlooked with Jones is he is someone who can hit the single as well, so I wanted to show some examples of him doing that. Like, this one's another one. It's going to be a run to the right side of the screen. That's the way this play is going to work, and it's going to be relatively well blocked. Like, watch how when this play begins, you see Jones take the snap, take the handoff, going to run to the offense's left, which is towards the right side of the screen. And also, it wasn't a handoff, it was a pitch. Whatever. You get the idea. The ball is in Aaron Jones's hands, and now there's a defender who's trying to tackle him. However, Jones is able to get around that defender, and he, again, hits the single, right? That's not necessarily the sexiest of plays. That's not something that goes on the highlight reel, that play, but it matters, and it adds value, and any way you can add value and try to live up to the deal is good. Again, something like this, another one, where it's going to be a run up the middle, and it's going to be very well blocked. Watch how there is that hole for Jones to run through. He's going to be able to get through it. But there is a Buffalo player there who could potentially come over and make a tackle. And this is where having speed really comes into effect here. Really having acceleration as well. Being able to get through a gap quickly is definitely a skill that Aaron Jones has. Watch, he does it, he gets by him, and then even is able to bounce off another tackle before finally getting brought down. So, really good sort of little things, but again, he does all the little things well enough that turns into big things. Like this play is going to be another one where watch what's going to happen on this one. So again, you're going to see Rodgers just sort of flip the ball to Aaron Jones on that one. You have a defensive lineman who's going to try and run over and see if he can, get to Jones. But again, watch Jones have the speed and also not go down easy. That's one of the things I also feel like is underrated about Aaron Jones. I think people view him as like the small, shifty back because he is, someone who's very shifty and very quick, and that is how he gets the majority of his wins. So it's fair to bring that up. But that doesn't mean you go down easy as well. And he's definitely someone who does not go down easy. He is someone who takes a little bit of time to get him to fully go down. But heading over here, this is my favorite thing about Aaron Jones. This is what I think he does at his best, is his ability to get safeties to miss. Because at the end of the day, yes, it's great that you can hit singles, but the home run hitting ability is really where I think some real value for a running back can come into effect. Where right when his play begins, again, it's well blocked. Oftentimes, if you're going to have a big run, it's going to be well blocked, right? But what Jones is going to do here to make the safety miss, I think, is really great, where he's already looking at the safety. He's already game planning for the safety. He sees the play, he sees what's happening, and knows he has an opportunity to get a big run here. Watch him then accelerate past the safety and even gets past another defensive back before finally he gets brought down. But that was a 30-plus yard run right there. Turning a 10-yard run into a 30-plus yard run is really valuable. And again, it's not just in plays like that. We've seen him be able to turn 10-yard runs into 70-yard touchdowns before. Making a safety miss is something that can be absolutely crucial and really can shift an entire football game. I mean, that can win you a football game, being able to do that even just once in a game if you can make it happen. So the fact that Jones kind of has all these things is very good. I started this video off by talking about his contract because that's something that's worth mentioning. And the reality is, in 2024, even if he plays at an elite level, a running back kind of living up to the value of being a $17 million guy, that's just difficult. That's just, the odds of that happening are very slim. But you know what? For these 3 years, people always say don't pay running backs, and oftentimes I agree, but for these 3 years, the first 3 years, this is going to be the biggest cap hit he's had, and it's been $8.2 million, which for a player of his caliber is kind of a steal. And the reality is, if he has 3 years where he exceeds his value of his contract and 1 year where he doesn't, you'll probably take that as a Packers fan. So he's already done it twice. We'll see what he does the next 2 years. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.